Mystery School. Thank you so much for coming back. And ready for Astrology Lesson 12. Oh my goodness, we are moving along. Okay, so we've gone through all the glyphs for the signs and the planets. And we started looking at general chart layout and the axis, the horizontal, horizon line, and the vertical, medium coil. And we've talked about polarities and opposites and such, and just kind of got a general idea about what's going on in your chart. Now we're actually going to start integrating things. This is so exciting. So remember, we're just doing the sprinkles on the icing on the cake. We're not even doing the icing in this class. So we're just hitting the hot spots. But for each one of these houses, there's going to be a sign on the house cusp and possibly a planet in that. So that's where we're starting to, we've learned the glyphs, that's kind of our alphabet. Now we're starting to put those glyphs together to make words and sentences. So, now obviously I can't do every single rising sign in all 12 houses and the signs on each one of the 12 houses. That'd be 144 of them. That'd be a whole lot. But I'm going to just do some examples for you so that you can get the hang of it and start applying it to your own chart. Because that's really my goal, not only to give you enough information to see if you want to go and study more with, there's loads of classes on YouTube, or so you can start looking at your own chart and your friends and family. So remember, the houses are the area of life, and then the sign on that house cusp is kind of just giving more information, kind of a flavor to that house. Some astrologers talk about it in terms of like the house is like the scene in a play, and the sign on that is like the costume or the period. Is it modern or is it set in the 1800s or whatever? It kind of gives a more of an overall flavor to that house. So, without any further ado, I'm going to put you on pause and bring you down, and we'll start there. Okay, so here we are. We're starting out with just our good old generic chart that hopefully you're getting familiar with. And with the Aries rising, remember this is our first house. So each one of these houses is an area of life. And I'm not going to talk, I'm going to move the chart a little bit so we can talk about others besides just the Aries rising. But just remember, you know, Aries rising people are very straightforward. And let me just show you this sheet again in case you want to take a quick screenshot of that. These are key phrases for each one of the signs, and then its corresponding house. So Aries, I am. All right. And, oh, and I did want to also show this book a little closer too, the Astrologer's Handbook. And the authors are Sakoin, Sakoian, and Aker, Acker. And this, now in this book, you can actually get every rising sign and a little description of what each sign on each house is portraying. So let's move this. Let's go to Taurus rising, just to, you know, we don't want to give Aries people all the same all the information. We'll move on to Taurus rising. And when we've got a Taurus rising person, let's make sure I get it straight on the camera there. Taurus rising person, and I've gone in past lessons, I went through and gave every sign as the rising sign, because remember, rising, sun, and moon are our three most important elements that we look for. So with Taurus rising, remember it's fixed earth. This is going to be a very financially stable person. Venus, ruled by Venus, so there's going to be a lot of beauty. They're just going to be attractive type people. and a lot of strength too, as physically as well as personality wise. So now when we look at Gemini, the second house with Gemini on that house cusp, and remember the cusp is literally just the line that divides up these houses. And for our purposes, we're just using equal house system so that we've got 30 degrees for each sign starting from the rising sign. So just remember there are other house systems. So if you take other classes, it does make something of a difference, but it's not anything that is too earth-shattering. So I think if we just stick with equal house, we're going to keep it easy here. So the second house, which is ruled by Taurus, is our house of how we make our income every day, and that physical part of us. And when we've got Gemini on that house cusp, because it's the twins, oftentimes we see people with Gemini in the second house, they may have two jobs, or there are two income streams. Gemini is air, mutable, very quick minds, easy to talk. So this is another job they may have is customer service, sales, that sort of thing. And just remember that's different from the 10th house, which is our career. So just a slightly different emphasis. This is kind of what we do day in and day out. This is our overall career goals and such. Okay. Now, when we move down to the third house, which is which is ruled by Gemini, but if we're Taurus rising, we're going to have Cancer on that house cusp. And the third house is, where we do communicate. It's our house of siblings and that sort of thing. So with Cancer on that house cusp, that's a water sign, cardinal. We're going to get somebody who's really good at emotional communication. So this is someone who can talk about their feelings real easily. They may even have kind of a mother or fatherly relationship with their siblings. So, some people, an Aquarius type has a hard time talking about their feelings, but Cancer down on the third, no problem. Now the fourth house, and I'm just going to do quadrants, but I'm going to go one house over because these houses right on the axes are so important. I am going to kind of give them a little special emphasis, as you'll see. So Taurus rising, and again, remember what we talked about with, now we've got fixed, 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 fixed on all those four angles. So the angles are important parts of the wheel to think about. So if we've got Leo here, now the fourth house is our actual physical home. And with Leo there, this is the kind of person who that's creative at home. They want their home to be kind of a show place, sort of that, Leos are a little bit of show offs, I guess. But they like to have parties and entertain, and they're great at making people feel comfortable and welcomed in their home. So that's how so I hope you're starting to see how the influence of the sign on the house cusp influences the description. Now, I want to keep changing the chart here a little bit. So let's move to Gemini as a rising sign and see how that affects the different houses. Again, just so we can kind of so more people can have kind of get some ideas here. So those people who are Gemini rising, again, very creative, original, fast thinkers. And for those of you interested in manifesting and stuff, these kind of people, visualization comes very easy for them. Their brain just works real easily like that. So now when we go down to, I'm going to start with this quadrant and go up. Virgo on the fourth house cusp. So like we said, this is our physical homes. Virgo, so if we found Virgo on this nadir, on this house cusp, Virgo is loves to work. If they don't work at home, They very much probably have a workshop, a place to do their hobbies, a little workroom, that sort of thing. Virgo's also our neatest sign of the zodiac, not like Taurus. Taurus is probably the sloppy one. But anyway, and you guys know I tease you, so don't get a nobody. I don't want any Cancer, Pisces, boo-hoos here. I'm just teasing you a little bit. So Virgo, their homes, you go into their homes and it's like, they just vacuumed, everything looks nice, neat, clean, and tidy. Okay, and they're into service to the family. So these are the people who are going to be, hosting the family reunions and working for the family. Now the fifth house is our house of romance and creativity and having children. And if you've got Libra on that fifth house cusp, Libras are partners, our relationships. And so we're going to actually look for partners that we can maybe do something creative with. That kind of gets into that. Now Libra is air sign, ruled by Venus, cardinal. So the things that they think are fun are going to be very refined things. So these are the folks, that want to go listen to classical music and with a symphony and that kind of thing. These are not the kind of people that are going to want to go to a heavy metal concert, in other words. Then moving on to the sixth house. So you kind of get in the hang of how these, the houses are the area of life, and then the sign just influences that. Okay, sixth house Scorpio, or sixth house is ruled by Virgo. But if you had Scorpio on that sixth house cusp, and just to remind you, again, that's all of these the signs on the house cusps is all dependent on what the rising sign is. So if we've got Scorpio over here, these people, the sixth house is, how we work. It's also physical health. It's our physical health. So Scorpio is a water sign fixed. So this actually can be a placement of people that can literally, their emotions can make them sick. Okay, so how they feel is going to really influence their physical health. So keep that in mind if you run across that. And then Sagittarius on the seventh house cusp, well, this is the seventh house is our marriage partners, our business partners, anything like that. But with Sag there, we're going to be looking for somebody that we can talk opposite each other, talk late into the night about philosophy, religion, all sorts of ethical things, politics, and such. But Sag also rules foreign places and people. So you actually, if you got Sag on the 7th, you might actually marry somebody from a foreign country. So I think I'm going to stop there, because what I want to, and hopefully you're starting to get the hang of, well, what does it mean to have Aries on the cusp of the 11th house? Okay, and things like that. So I want you to get out your own chart and look at it and move that wheel around and start thinking, okay, maybe you might be thinking about romance. Well, what house is on that, or what sign is on the cusp of that fifth house? And you'll find, kind of who you kind of want to party with. Now remember, romance is different than this committed partnership. Okay, so at the next class, so that's your homework, is to look at your own chart and start getting some ideas of putting these signs and houses together. In the next class, we're going to go over the sun and the moon in these different houses, and keep going around the wheel and highlighting different rising signs, so that you can start to see now, how do these planets put some energy into these houses. So anyway, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And just remember, from there to here, from here to there, funny things are everywhere. Okay, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.